Hi everyone, let's talk about Aeon's End Outcasts, which I just did a two-player playthrough for. If you haven't seen that yet, have a look at that. That'll give you an idea of whether you would like Aeon's End or not, or my other playthroughs of it. This is just what I think of Outcasts so far, because it's an ongoing thing, and I'd like to, if there's demand for it and time for it, I'd like to carry on and show off more of the stuff that's in this box. Because there is I don't want to say how long the campaign is, but I've played the first couple of battles of this with the first two bosses. If you haven't seen anything at all of it, it's a campaign game, so it's full of envelopes that unlock new enemies, new cards for the market, secrets. It's always difficult when I don't want to spoil things, but it's not Legacy. You could reset all of this if you wanted and play through it again and unlock it. I love that this is the story from Legacy that we played all the way through, that was taken through New Age, which I have to admit I haven't played yet. I've got it here still. It just never won votes. And Outcasts carries on that story. I like that there's this ongoing thing all the way through it that's you can have played loads of times now and got really invested in all of this stuff, and you see the characters change as they go through this, not just in the way that they did in the Legacy campaign, but that you get new versions of characters that you're familiar with, or maybe you get to play as characters that you have encountered many, many times in the story. Now you get to play with them and see them as not as strong as before, because you get to play with them and you weren't as good as they were in a written story. But hey, maybe that's just me not being great at things. But I'll say that just with the basics from the first fight and vague things about from the second envelope and stuff, I'll say that Aeon's End can be a difficult game anyway. I'll say that Outcasts does seem a lot more difficult out of the gate than I have noticed in previous incarnations. And this is like if we discount Legacy as its own thing, even though it does follow on this story, it's separate. It's a Legacy game. There is the original Aeon's End, there's War Eternal standalone expansion, that's before any of this story stuff, and now there's New Age and Outcast, as well as tons of small box expansions. So if you're into this game, there is a ton of stuff available for it. But out of I've played discounting Legacy again, this and War Eternal, a couple of the small box expansions, and Outcast now. I'd say that there are definitely nemesis that are rated really high in difficulty and are much harder than this, but I'll say that for the Experiment 153 that you saw in the playthrough, check I get that number right now, I think right out of the gate, for this being your learning game, it's a very difficult one, especially since it says just 3 for the difficulty of it. Hey, who knows though, maybe you had a really easy experience with it. But I'll say that you can tune in to the end of the playthrough if you would like to see what is unlocked at the end of that. I don't want to spoil much for you, but I think it's a game-changing thing that is really exciting, and it's really. I'll talk about it at the end of the playthrough, kind of my thoughts about it, because I don't want to spoil too much for you. Just know that it's more Aeon's End. I love the basic system. I loved it since the very first game. I love the kind of planning that goes into this deck builder, where you don't shuffle your deck, where you can kind of map out, okay, if I cast this spell, if I don't cast it this turn, then it can go in this position and be next to these cards. Oh, if I buy this turn, it'll be right next to this card, and hopefully I'll get a good chance of drawing them together, because combined they will have this really powerful effect, or I can get rid of this terrible thing that Nemesis has done to us. I love how different the Nemesis all feel. It's great that with hardly any extra stuff here. There is an extra board with Experiment 153, but just the system of the more tokens and dragging those back and working out. It's not just about trying to whittle this life dial down. It's split into all these different ways now, and we might want to do damage to something that we might not kill because we get to bring those tokens back down. I love I tried to use characters that had kind of big mechanics with the barriers, and the glyph tokens were big flashy new things. But I love those new systems. Especially we played a 3-player game when we were allowed to of the first game with Experiment 153, and it's great kind of working out between the 3 of us. Then okay, well, this glyph's here. Who's going to buy that? Who's going to get the best use out of it? Should we then, when we get to buy the card that's got that glyph on it, do we take the ability ourselves, or do we give it back to Zana to be able to use herself? Does she want to buy that card and then move the glyph somewhere else that's going to be more useful? Because now things have changed, and as always, the discovery of what the Nemesis is going to do to you to destroy you this time, and working out how you are going to kind of just reel and work out how you're going to hold it off, because we straight off the bat in the first game realised that we'd made a mistake perhaps buying loads and loads of damage, which you do need eventually, but so many things that wanted money, at least in the preset version, came out that we weren't quite prepared for. But you can come back to that next time more prepared. But as soon as you are out of the first game, you don't quite know what Nemesis cards are going to come out. Is it going to be that heavy on those particular powers this time that you need to discard? And that's another strength of Aeon's End, that even though the particular Nemesis you're playing has got some preset cards that are going to come out every time, they are shuffled with loads of basic cards, and spoil too much, but you get more and more of that as you play through the game, and those cards can upgrade and devolve and get worse for you, but hopefully you've got better along the way as well, with more choice and variability in the market deck. And especially, I haven't got to the end yet of how we are going to be able to combine all of this with Aeon's End, but just from those first two boxes we had a ton, and then we threw everything that we could from Legacy in there, and then we've got New Age and this, and we need to get all of those little expansions, and there's a Return to Gravehold big expansion that's come out that looks really exciting. I really, really want to play a load of Aeon's End. You want to see a load of Aeon's End? Let me know. Yeah, I just want to see more and more and more of it, and I'm sure that's going to come, hopefully. Anyway, that's it from me. Watch some more playthroughs if you'd like. There's over 400 on this channel, or go and have a cup of tea or something. Whatever you'd like to do. Thank you very much for watching, though, and I'll see you for the next game. Bye, everyone.